The forest was silent, and the setting sun cast long shadows across the soft earth. Buddha sat beneath a Bodhi tree, his presence serene yet commanding. The disciples gathered around, eager for his wisdom. Sundara stepped forward, his face etched with frustration and confusion. His disciples knelt before him, eyes filled with longing for truth. Ananda spoke first, his voice uncertain. "It binds us like a shadow. Consider a man lost in a forest," Buddha said. "The trees are dense, and he follows a single path. This path offers neither freedom nor clarity," Buddha continued. "Yet he remains there, walking in circles without truly seeking escape. Why does the man remain stuck in this loop?" Buddha asked, his gaze sweeping across his disciples. A young woman named Ananda spoke hesitantly. "Perhaps he fears the unknown that lies beyond the familiar path?" Buddha nodded gently. "Yes, fear plays a role, but it is craving that keeps him tied to the familiar. Craving leads us to seek comfort within our confusion," Buddha explained. "It distracts us from the pursuit of liberation." The disciples listened intently, their minds absorbing his words like dry earth receiving rain. Buddha raised his hand and gestured toward the river. "See how the water flows effortlessly. It clings to nothing." These echoes distort our perception and fuel repetitive cycles. A kind word can touch the heart, Buddha explained, but craving turns it into longing, which perpetuates dissatisfaction. An insult may pass like wind, Buddha said. Yet craving clings to its sting, embedding suffering deeper within us. How can one break free from these echoes? Blessed One? Sundara asked, his brow furrowed. Buddha looked at Sundara with unwavering compassion. By understanding craving as a fleeting shadow. My child, he answered. Craving thrives when we fail to see its impermanence, Buddha continued. We grasp at pleasure and flee from pain in vain. True liberation comes from recognizing the transient nature of all things, Buddha said. Release comes with this understanding. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, each contemplating the impermanence Buddha spoke of. Buddha extended his hand and pointed toward the horizon. Do you see the setting sun? Buddha asked. To see things as they are, without illusion, is the first step, a young monk whispered. What illusions must we break? His eyes flickered with understanding, yet still held doubt. Buddha met his gaze. We believe we possess things. We believe we control time. These illusions tighten the chains of suffering. Buddha smiled softly, sensing the change. As the sun rises and falls, so does our craving, Buddha said. This awareness is the first step to liberation. Observe the nature of craving. My children, Buddha urged, do not fight it. Instead, see it for what it is. Craving is a fire, burning both pleasure and pain into endless echoes, Buddha said. Extinguish it through mindfulness. The disciples reflected deeply on Buddha's teachings as the forest's shadows grew longer. Sundara bowed low, his heart lighter than before. You have given me clarity. Blessed One, Sundara said. Some saw shadows of fear, others recognized burdens of resentment. Right speech, Buddha said. The forest remained still, as if bearing witness to Buddha's profound wisdom. The disciples' hearts were stirred toward mindfulness and liberation. Night descended gently upon the Bodhi tree, the disciples surrounding Buddha in quiet reverence. The teachings etched into their spirits like stars in the sky. Another day, another lesson unfolded as the sun rose over the tranquil forest. The air was crisp and serene. Buddha sat by the riverbank, his countenance calm, radiating wisdom. His disciples gathered around him, their eyes filled with devotion. Sundara approached, bowing respectfully, his face etched with curiosity. Blessed One, he began. Why do humans cling to illusions? Buddha smiled gently, his voice steady yet compassionate. Ignorance, Sundara, is the veil that blinds us from truth. He picked up a handful of sand, letting it fall between his fingers. "Observe this sand," Buddha said, his eyes glinting with purpose. "Each grain is like a belief we hold onto tightly." The disciples leaned closer, their breaths synchronized as they hung on every word. "Ignorance, dear ones, persuades us to see permanence in the impermanent," Buddha continued, his tone measured, resonating deeply. "The fisherman we saw yesterday is a fitting metaphor for this illusion." Sundara nodded, recalling the sight of the tireless man casting his net into empty waters. "He labors, believing there are fish where none exist," Buddha explained, the river glistening behind him. "Why does he persist?" Buddha asked, his gaze soft yet piercing. The disciples looked at each other, thoughtful yet unsure of their response. A merchant among the disciples frowned. "Master, must I abandon trade?" His voice carried both doubt and curiosity. "Exactly, Sundara," Buddha affirmed, his voice a gentle wave washing over the group. "Ignorance births assumptions that trap us in suffering." The air grew heavier, a solemn realization settling over the disciples like a morning mist. The forest seemed to listen in. Reverent silence. Buddha rose gracefully, walking toward the river as the disciples followed in quiet procession. "Consider this river," he began, motioning to the flowing waters. Its currents symbolize the flow of our thoughts and attachments. The sunlight danced on the ripples, creating an ethereal tableau. "Do you see the leaf drifting on the water?" Buddha asked, pointing to a lone leaf swirling in the current. The disciples nodded, their eyes fixed on the leaf, mesmerized by its rhythmic dance. "Ignorance is the current that carries us aimlessly. Like this leaf," Buddha explained, his words deliberate. He bent down, scooping up a pebble from the riverbed, its surface smooth and cool. "Ignorance also shapes our perceptions. Like water smooths this pebble," he said, holding it aloft. "Our thoughts, conditioned by ignorance, take shapes that distort reality." The disciples leaned in closer, their focus unwavering. Buddha let the pebble fall back into the water, the ripple distorting the reflection of the trees above. "Every ripple is a reaction born from ignorance," he continued, his voice a steady stream. "Each reaction veils us further from clarity and truth. Do not dwell on the past or fear the future." His voice was gentle. Ananda smiled. "Master, sometimes the mind wanders." He gestured to the surrounding forest, its towering trees swaying in the gentle breeze. "See these trees," Buddha said, his voice imbued with reverence for the natural world. "They stand rooted yet surrender to the winds. Such is the way of wisdom." The disciples nodded, their hearts stirred. "Ignorance tempts us to resist, to cling to what we desire or fear to lose," Buddha continued, pausing briefly. "But wisdom teaches us to flow, to adapt and let go. Much like these trees." The forest echoed with the rustling of leaves, amplifying his words. Buddha sat down again, his posture serene yet commanding, the river a silent witness. "Meditation is the tool to peel back the layers of ignorance," he said, his voice firm. "It allows us to see thoughts for what they are, fleeting and insubstantial." Sundara closed his eyes, reflecting deeply. "In meditation, we observe without judgment, freeing the mind from assumptions and illusions," Buddha explained, his tone soothing yet resolute. "As the river clears when mud settles, so does the mind in stillness." The disciples sat cross-legged, emulating their teacher, the moment imbued with sacred energy. "Awareness transforms ignorance into understanding," Buddha continued, weaving his words into the disciples' consciousness. "And understanding begets wisdom, the light that dispels darkness." Sundara opened his eyes, a flicker of realization illuminating his face, a profound shift taking root within him. Buddha paused, allowing silence to punctuate his teaching, the moment heavy with significance. The river's gentle flow seemed to mirror the rhythm of the disciples' thoughts. "What else blinds us?" asked another disciple, his voice hesitant but genuine. "Breaking the stillness. Self-identity," Buddha replied without hesitation, his tone unwavering. "The idea of I and mine arises from ignorance." Shackling us further, he gestured to the river once more. "Does this river claim its water? Does the tree claim its leaves?" All is transient. The disciples listened, their minds absorbing the depth of Buddha's words like parched earth drinking rain. "When we cling to self, we perpetuate suffering," Buddha elaborated, his voice a steady flame. "But seeing the self as an illusion liberates us from its chains." "Master, if we are ever changing, why do we fear loss?" Buddha watched the drifting clouds above. The mind clings to identity, afraid of impermanence. Through mindfulness, Sundara, and by recognizing our interconnectedness with all things, he said, the forest alive with his wisdom, Buddha stood once more, motioning for his disciples to follow as he walked along the riverbank. "Look at this river," he said, his voice imbued with a poetic cadence. "Each drop flows together, indistinguishable from the whole. Such is the nature of existence." The disciples nodded, their steps synchronized with Buddha's as they walked deeper into the lesson. "When we see ourselves as separate, ignorance thrives," Buddha continued, his pace unhurried. "But unity reveals the truth, dissolving the illusion of self." Sundara smiled faintly, the words resonating deeply within him. Buddha stopped, turning to face his disciples, his expression serene yet intense. "To end ignorance, we must question everything," he declared. "Do not take my words as truth. Experience them yourself." The disciples exchanged glances, the challenge igniting a spark of determination within them. Buddha sat again under a grand tree, the dappled sunlight casting intricate patterns on the forest floor. "Ignorance, like a shadow, disappears in the presence of light," he said, his words echoing through the clearing. "Be the light through awareness and understanding." The disciples nodded, inspired by his clarity. The session concluded, the disciples dispersing to reflect and meditate, their hearts heavy yet uplifted. Sundara lingered, bowing deeply before departing. Buddha watched him go, his gaze filled with quiet encouragement. The river flowed on, its rhythm eternal, as another day of profound teachings came to a close. Another day, another chance for clarity emerged as the morning sun kissed the forest with its golden light. They come and go, restless and wild. Buddha picked up a fallen leaf and let it drift in the breeze. Buddha began, his voice gentle yet resolute. "Today, we shall unravel the weight of habit, the third binding force of suffering." The disciples leaned closer, their hearts open to his teachings. "Habits are like rivers," Buddha continued, his tone rich with metaphor. "They carve deep channels, steering us into repetitive actions." He walked toward a well-trodden forest path, his footsteps light and deliberate. "Do you see this path?" Buddha asked, gesturing toward the worn trail before them. The disciples nodded, their eyes following his gesture with growing curiosity. Another day, the disciples gathered around a fire, its glow flickering softly in the evening dusk. A young monk asked, "Master, does the self continue beyond death?" Buddha watched the flames dance upon the wood. "Indeed," he affirmed, his voice carrying a deep resonance. "The repetition of action engraves patterns, both in the soil and in the mind." Buddha turned, addressing his disciples with unwavering focus. "Habits serve as the framework through which our lives take shape," he explained, his words deliberate. "Some habits serve us well, guiding us toward virtue and mindfulness," Buddha continued, his tone softening. "Others bind us, keeping us in cycles of suffering." "Then there is nothing beyond this life?" Buddha smiled. "Beyond illusion, there is vastness. They are impermanent, Like all things, Buddha said, each habit, no matter how ingrained, was once new. It was nurtured by repetition. He stooped to pick up a stick, tracing a line in the dirt with slow, deliberate strokes. Consider this line, Buddha instructed, his movements calm and precise. At first, it is faint and unstable, but trace it again and again, and it deepens. The disciples observed with rapt attention, the metaphor sinking in. Habits are like this line, Buddha continued, his tone measured. The more we repeat them, the deeper they become, and the harder to change. The disciples nodded in understanding, the visual metaphor illuminating the concept with stark clarity. Sundara's brow furrowed in thought. Blessed One, Sundara began, his voice tinged with a mix of curiosity and concern. If habits are so ingrained, can they ever truly be broken? Buddha's eyes met Sundara's, radiating compassion and wisdom. Habits, Sundara, are not chains. They are pathways, and pathways can be redirected. He gestured toward the forest, its trails intertwining and diverging like veins of possibility. The first step in changing a habit is awareness, Buddha explained, his voice steady. Without awareness, we walk these paths blindly, unaware of the patterns guiding our steps. Sundara nodded, his face reflecting newfound understanding. Awareness is the light that illuminates the dark corners of the mind, Buddha continued, his tone unwavering. With awareness, we see the habit for what it is, a series of choices repeated over time. The disciples leaned in closer, their attention wholly captivated by his words. Buddha placed the stick back on the ground, his movements graceful and deliberate. The second step is intention, he said, his eyes scanning the group. What path do you wish to walk? What purpose shall guide your steps? The disciples exchanged glances, the question resonating deeply within them. Intention is the compass that directs our actions, giving them meaning and direction, Buddha explained, his tone imbued with calm authority. Without intention, we wander aimlessly, perpetuating the habits that bind us. Another day, they arrived at a riverbank. A fisherman stood nearby, pulling nets from the water. The final step is effort, he continued, his voice steady and encouraging. Change requires persistence, for the old path will always feel easier than the new. He bent down, picking up a stone from the riverbank. Consider this stone, Buddha said, holding it up for all to see. It flows, finding peace in movement. The fisherman furrowed his brows. Effort is the river that reshapes the stone of habit, he explained, his words poetic. The disciples sat in reflective silence, the weight of Buddha's teachings sinking into their hearts. When you resist life, pain grows. When you embrace it, peace remains. Do not fear failure, Sundara, Buddha replied, his tone filled with gentle assurance. Every step, even a misstep, is part of the journey. He paused, allowing the silence to punctuate his words. What matters is the intention to continue, to redirect your steps toward freedom. All beings suffer, yet love remains the greatest cure. The mother whispered, but love cannot erase pain. Remember, dear ones, the path to liberation is not linear. It is a dance of progress and setbacks, Buddha said, his voice filled with compassion. He gestured toward the forest path once more, its worn trail a testament to countless journeys. With awareness, intention, and effort, even the deepest paths can be redirected, Buddha concluded. Each step, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. The session ended, the disciples dispersing to reflect and meditate, their hearts heavy with gratitude. Sundara lingered, bowing deeply before departing, his steps lighter, his spirit renewed. Buddha watched him go, his gaze filled with quiet encouragement. The forest stood as a silent witness, its rhythm eternal. As another day of profound teachings came to a close, Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.